Welcome back, everyone. It's me, Matt. Now, I've stumbled across some rather peculiar tank footage from the Russian armed forces, utilizing, as you all know, which tank this is. I'm not going to, insult your intelligence, but it's kind of cool, actually, what they're trying to do with them. They're making some, challenges for the crews to utilize tools and techniques that show the precision and maybe the accuracy of which the tracking of the gun is, how precise the movements of the cradle of the turret are, and etc, etc. And the first of these challenges that they're actually going to initiate is painting a picture. But as you can hear from the presenter in the background, if you speak Russian, it's really wet, and unfortunately, if it's really wet out, you can't really paint much because the paint just literally washes off the canvas. But it looks like they're actually trying to paint the star, the star known at the top there, the Russian star, with the paintbrush or the pen, at the end of the barrel. But it's really sad, unfortunately, that you don't get to see the results fully because of that rain. It looks like it is a nasty day to be out as the demonstrators. As you'll see, they're kind of helping to coordinate and orchestrate this performance. But it does go to show that there's some fun to be had with working with tanks. It'd be interesting to see the Western world do these kind of competitions a little bit more dynamic and have some fun with it. I think the Russians do great with the tank biathlon, and this demonstration actually is a full day of demonstrations and firing and all sorts of stuff. But as you can see here, they're going a little bit more in depth and showcasing to their audience they can do all sorts of fun things with it. But let's look at some other ones they do, shall we? Because sadly, we're not going to see the results with the rain of this pen drawing star situation here. So let's move on to the next portion. So first of all, can we just do a massive shout out to the guy who has to stand in this torrential rain to help coordinate getting these tanks to do these little tricks. This one is an interesting one. They're actually going to be utilizing the gun as a hammer to hammer in a nail to a chunk of wood. It's creative, to say the least. In terms of practicality, does it make any sense? Absolutely not. To train your crew to hammer a nail into wood really makes absolutely no sense to me, but they're going to try it anyway with that beautiful gun there. They're going to try and give it a good old tap, get the nail into the wood. At the end of the day, it's pure weight more than it is momentum, trying to get that nail in there. And also, they're hammering onto a squidgy, spongy, wet table. I'm not entirely sure if that's going to make a difference there. It looks like they gave it a good try. If you're a crew inside of this tank, you're probably like, boys, I just want to get back to the shacks and have a beer. But of course, this poor gentleman now is having to set up the next portion of this activity, which is opening an ammo crate with the barrel. This is kind of cool. I think it does kind of indicate the tracking ability of the turret and the stabilization of the gun. But it, again, has absolutely no relevance to practicality of going into combat. Maybe some of you will prove me wrong, but you can see the guy on the left there's just like, oh, for the love of God, can you just get on with this? This is so pointless. I am soaking wet. I just want to go home. But it's quite actually impressive. It does manage to catch the edge of that box. And he's kind of like, should I touch it? Should I not touch it? No, he opens the entire crate. Kind of cool. And, of course, they're going to close it again. So, let's move on to the next... What should we call these? Tank tactics? Tank tricks? I have no idea. But all in all, the footage of the tank itself is beautiful. They are a very pretty tank, I find. Ugly pretty, though. They're that ugly style pretty. Let's move on to the next task, shall we? Okay, so before we go into this portion of the tank tricks, has anyone played Fruit Ninja before? If you have, let me know in the comment section before. It was one of my favourite games that I used to play some time ago, was Fruit Ninja on my cell phone. But this tank is turning into a basic Fruit Ninja. They put some very crude welded knife together. And again, this poor gentleman is having to hold a watermelon in the pouring rain, square it up to this gun with that weird-looking knife on the end of the barrel, and cut it. And this dude is just thinking, I hope to God that this watermelon can be cut so I can go home and everything goes well. The panic on this guy's face. It's harder to tell who's controlling or concentrating more in this scenario. Is it the guy on the actual traversing mechanism inside the turret, or is it the person holding this watermelon? Yeah, careful there, buddy. You're going to chop your own fingers off. And there he goes. He's going to show that the two watermelon pieces have been cut in half. That's a very fresh watermelon, by the way, so good for him. Hopefully he's going to have a nice little snack on that later on. But then they move on to the next fruit for the Fruit Ninja Tank tactic. I'm not actually even sure what this is. A cantaloupe, some weird looking... Oh, they're going to cut the watermelon again here. Here we go. Okay, just to make sure the watermelon is sent to the grave properly, they're going to chop it in half again. Again, the look on that guy's face just proves to you that he is dedicated to the cause. I wonder who thought up of this idea. It was just like, hey guys, do you know what we should do in the pouring rain with the main battle tank? Let's just go cut some fruit and showcase that tanks can be good in the kitchen making fruit salads if necessary when hosting guests. Of course, these particular tanks aren't super good hosts at the moment. We're moving on. We're going to cut, I don't know what that is. Looks like a child's head, to be honest with you. Ooh, that was quite the reaction. Looks like a giant potato. But again, he's not too sure whether to go get it or if he's going to get his hand cut off from the crew inside of this tank. He's like, should I get this or should I just let them keep going? You have to orchestrate this quite well, because if that barrel does come down, he's literally losing his hands. So it looks like they've chopped this weird-looking potato thingy, whatever it is. Someone tell me what that fruit is, please. Tell me what that is. Is it a grapefruit? I don't know. It looks very odd-shaped. And we're moving on to the final task, where I guess they're cutting an even smaller fruit, and I believe this is a apple. Some may say a Macintosh. Some may say a Granny Smith. No one truly knows, but it's going to be cut with this gigantic, weird-looking blade. Can you imagine being the dude had to zip tie that thing on there or Jubilee clip that thing on there? He's like, what am I doing with my life? I'm turning a tank barrel into a knife. Truly, though, I think this is kind of fun. Why not, right? Who cares? It'd be great for a demonstration in front of kids. I'm not sure in front of an entire defense committee or your nation's senior armed forces officials, but hey, who am I to say? I think this is still pretty cool. And let's move on to the final task, which, as you can see from the camera, progressively getting drenched. The poor guys who have finished their tank tactics already, or tank tricks, are still stood in the rain, just getting absolutely drenched. But now we're going on to the gyro stabilization test. This is a really interesting bit of footage, because you would expect for a gyro stabilization footage, you know, I guess, demonstration, that the turret will be returning back to the travel position quite quickly. But as you can see, this is super, super slow. I'm not sure if they're doing it because of the wind, or maybe they know that conditions are going to make this test not as successful. But that is a really slow traversing of that turret with the water on there. The water doesn't even look like it wants to tip it, even if it could. And of course, this is demonstrating the capability of the barrel, keeping that stabilization and making a nice level platform for them to engage targets. So yes, this has, I guess, some form of practical representation or understanding of how accurate the tank could be on firing on the move. But in this scenario, it's almost taken 5 minutes just to rotate the barrel to the front. So I'm not sure truly what this portion of the demonstration is doing. It would make more sense that they just have a guy in the front putting the cup on there and then just letting them drive forward. But hey, so be it. And once again, you can see the guy in the background just being like, please, please don't fall off. Please, I don't want to have to do this again. Can you just drive now, please? I want to go home. I'm wet. I'm tired. I'm miserable. Hats off to the troops that are supporting this particular demonstration, because it just looks absolutely miserable. I know I keep saying that, but I've been in scenarios like that where you're just like, this is not enjoyable at all. So I guess the tank's going to take a good cruise now, hopefully at some speed, but if it's any slower than which that turret turned 90 degrees, then we're in for a long haul here, folks. And yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be going much faster than this, maybe, but once again, if you're going to demonstrate the stability of a gun and its, you know, option to engage targets on the move with a gun of that size, you're probably going to at least give some bumps and some humps and some things to move. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it did do a little bit of an abrupt break and turn there, so didn't spill anything. That wind is certainly not going to be on their side if they, you know, if the wind catches that jug. Be interesting to see, you know, if the jug is got a little bit of Velcro on the bottom of there, a little bit of super glue, just to keep it in place. But again, look at this nice flat concrete platform here. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a huge, you know, risk to it tipping, because it's just traversing flat ground. Finally, they've been able to put the table away and let the boys go back to the shacks and get out of their wet clothing. Running away with... You wouldn't want to fall with that thing, would you? That'd be pretty embarrassing. Be bad enough the water falling off the tank and 2 troops knocking over that table and hitting the deck like a ton of bricks. I mean, in all honesty, it is staying stabilized. it's a very big jug of water, so there's a lot of weight behind it there too. You know, there's that demonstration of the Germans putting a pint of beer on their barrel and literally just churning a Leopard 2 across the terrain. I think that's a much better demonstration than this particular one. I think this is being very cautious. I think, you know, the vehicle could probably do a lot better in terms of it showcasing this particular demo, but hey, once again, who am I to say? It's a very muddy little tank park there too. I can't imagine having to walk through 200 feet of mud to get into that environment, but they're doing a full lap of this concrete square here. The water still hasn't fallen off, thank goodness. And hashtag Forum Army. So I love watching these kind of videos. I actually really enjoy seeing the live fire demonstrations from these Russian videos, because it kind of shows you that the equipment is being utilized, it's being operated in an environment where, you know, okay, it's very formalized, it's very, I guess, standardized in the way in which it's orchestrated, but it still gives a really good look at, you know, ranges it can fire, you know, what kind of targets it's engaging, and just looks overall pretty damn cool. I'm interested to see what all these flags mean. They might not mean anything, but it seems like they may be range indicators of some kind. I'm not entirely sure. This is taking a long time. That entire parade square could have been traversed in like 20 seconds, but maybe they're just being overly cautious. Personally, if I was a military official watching this and being saying, guys, seriously, can you go any slower even if you tried? I think they'd prefer seeing the jug of water fall off than having to watch this slow time, you know, parade square lap we've got going on here. And it looks like the poor old troop on the kind of platform there is waiting to receive this jug. Saying waiting to receive is never a good thing in my mind, because I'm going to get myself in trouble. Have you ever seen that video of the guy in Australia or South Africa, I'm not sure which one it is, where he's getting put into the back of the police car? Or he's a succulent Chinese meal. Yeah, waiting to receive is never something that I should be thinking about in the context of YouTube, because I just want to say it. Are you waiting to receive? Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. Anyway, here we are. He's finally got his jug of water back, this poor guy. And if you notice... Oh, no, okay, he peeled it off there pretty easily. Now I guess he's going to go and give it to someone. He's giving it to the driver to have a good drink. There you go. There you go, driver, have a good drink. There's about as much water in that jug than there is in my pants right now. Maybe he's the commander, I don't know. Anyway, folks, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. I thought you'd have some fun going through some Russian armoured fighting vehicle footage. We're doing some tank tricks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.